Again, I cannot stress this enough. You do not have to become a content creator, but I do want you to think about who you are. What is important to you? What do you want to accomplish in life? And then hey guys, I want to talk about something important to me, and that is your personal brand. I spent the majority of my life just kind of aimlessly wandering through without putting any really thought or consideration into my personal brand. I used to think of brand as Nike, Louis Vuitton, Ferrari, Lamborghini, things like that. And yes, those are brands. And I think when we see a brand of that magnitude, it's easy for us to lose sight of the fact that we have our own personal brand. And many of you are probably thinking, what are you talking about? Like, those are major brands. What do you mean I have a brand? I want you to understand that brand is just association. How do people think about you? What do people say about you when you are not in the room? For those of you that have known me for a long period of time, you know that I grew up as the introverted IT nerd. If I didn't know you, I wasn't talking to you. Over time, I got pretty darn good at technology, built a career in technology. I've also always been into fast cars, nice cars, shows, racing, things like that. And then over the years, started to focus more on fitness. I got big into CrossFit and then really more strength and conditioning. And now, over the past decade, I have become increasingly focused on leadership and building businesses and the wolf. People now refer to me as the wolf man. Whenever I get gifts from people, I've got these little trinkets. These are little wolf desk things. A keychain with the wolf logo on it. Liquor that shows up. People give me that. One thing that was actually, this one's near and dear to my heart. It is a knife made from a company in Russia that has a wolf head on the butt of it. These things are very special to me because I have spent the past 4 years intentionally curating a brand of Sean and the Wolf. And if we peel that back just a little bit, Sean, the Wolf, and leadership. That has become my passion and purpose in life, my mission. And because of that, that's what I want to be known for. You see, we all have a brand. Whether we know it or not, whether we want it to be there or not, it exists. Do you want to be known as the grumpy IT guy that just says no to everybody because you're the smartest person in the room and they just don't get it? Or do you want to be known as the leader that solves problems? Whenever I think about my professional journey and career, I was the IT guy that was the smartest in the room that always said no. And while I did accomplish what most would consider decent levels of success in my career, in my mid-30s, I had, don't know how I finagled it, but I found myself also leading human resources. And that completely changed the entire trajectory of my life because I realized I was not the smartest person in the room. And I also discovered this passion and purpose for coaching others and realized that that's what I want to be known for. And even the first, we'll say 4 to 5 years of growth in my career beyond just IT, whenever I started leading HR and safety and transportation and all the other functional areas of a large business, I was still kind of finding my voice and finding a way to portray how I want to be known. And when you think about how you want to be known, there's reasons for that. You want to stay true to yourself, yes, obviously, but you also want other people to know who you are and what you're about. If you are a bubbly, outgoing, fun, lively personality that just genuinely cares about everybody that they interact with, and that's who you are in person, but you are a ghost online, it's going to be a bit of a mismatch. And so I want to spend a little bit of time talking about why it is so important that we put a little energy and effort into our online presence, that virtual persona. And look, I know many of you that are, how do I say this, tenured in life, are digging your heels in because you don't want to post online. You don't want people to know about your life, and you don't have to become a content creator. But spending just a little bit of time and energy to ensure that your online presence matches who you are in person will go a long way. Now, why do we want to do this? Well, ultimately, it's about exposure. It's about opportunities. Whether you exercise those opportunities, that's entirely up to you. But I have started working with quite a few executives or just employees that were exited from an organization, sometimes voluntarily, sometimes involuntarily, and they find themselves struggling. They're blasting out their resume to hundreds of places, no response at all. And one of the first things that we start doing whenever we start working together is curating their LinkedIn presence, optimizing their resume. These things are pretty simplistic and basic in nature. But if you are searching for a job, or if you are a business owner and searching for work, the first thing a customer or an employer are going to do is go look you up. And if you are a ghost, it's not going to bode well for you. Again, I cannot stress this enough. You do not have to become a content creator, but I do want you to think about who you are. What is important to you? What do you want to accomplish in life? And then make sure that everybody else understands that. Because you don't want to be that person that's focused on building and lifting everybody up, but nobody knows about it. And a lot of times whenever I'll do workshops or speeches and talk about personal branding, the hands go up. Why do I want to do this? This seems like a lot of time and energy. There's no ROI. And I will argue that, yes, there's not an immediate ROI in building a personal brand and making sure that people know who you are and what you're about. But it is compounding. Over time, the more you do what you say you're going to do, the more people will understand who you are and what you're about. These are the important things that I want all of you to think about as you are moving forward. It's actually not as challenging as you might think. It does take a little bit of time and energy to do this, but oh man, it is so worth it. Like, I can't stress that enough. When you walk into any room and people know what you're about and can immediately strike up a conversation and not feel awkward or weird or strange about like, well, this is what I was thinking I was going to get, but this is something different. So just a few things that I want all of you to think about is be intentional about what your brand is, who you are, what you're all about. Be intentional about making sure that everybody else knows who you are and what you're about. When you do this, one caveat or thing that I want you to also keep in mind is that It's going to be important that each and every day, when something comes up, a big decision that you have to make comes up, ask yourself, does this decision align with who I am at my core? Because you do not want to start violating your morals or boundaries for someone else, for a company, for money. I cannot stress this enough. This is something that is extremely important, because the second you start to violate yourself, people take note. And it has a detrimental effect on how people see you. So I didn't mean for this to get that heavy, but it is something that is very near and dear to my heart. I have started to understand how powerful this is, and that's ultimately the thing that I want to leave you guys with today. Make sure that you're focused on building a brand and reputation that you are proud of.